Good day, everybody. Welcome to another video for Maverick's Point of View. Today we're going to be going over, and I'm looking at it, gold right now. Just because I want to mark up the charts for you guys, give you a little insight before the mini course onto how I look at the charts, what I'm looking at, what I'm paying attention to, how I find opportunity, right? We just did yesterday alone, we just did, I think it was like 350%. We topped out on XRP, and I'll show that too. But it's just exciting right now. Like I know there's a lot of things going on. There's chaos, Epstein files, and all this craziness that everybody's talking about and pushing out into the market. Um, there's an agenda here, right? This chaos is being pushed on purpose, and I'm not going to go into detail, but the point of saying all that is there's opportunity regardless. Whenever there's chaos, there's opportunity. So I'm taking this time to show y'all on the charts how it looks like. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do, we're looking at this M means monthly time frame. So that means each one of these bars, these bricks that you see here with these little lines, we call them candlesticks. So this is a candlestick, this is a candle wick. Each one of these is a month. So if you look at it here, you got boom. So that was August 3rd, 2020. Look at this next one. Boom. August 1st, 2022. Oh, I'm sorry, April, excuse me. And then we have boom, May 2023. So this, as you can see, each one of these is a candle. And these span this it spans the years quickly. It just lets me see a lot of information really, really, really quickly. And when I'm looking at the chart, when you're looking at any chart, the first thing you want to do is identify all the important information really, really quickly. So I use a monthly time frame to do that. Snapshot, give me the information I'm looking for the overall time that I'm looking at, and go from there and decide what moves I want to make once I see the whole picture. All right, I'm like painting Picasso's over here. So right now I go into this in the course, but this is a zone. I'm making a zone just so I can make things more clear in my mind and see how we got here in the first place. So all this movement, all this movement right here, gold's jumped up 151% since what day was this? March 1st, 2024. So all this movement here, this whole what we call uptrend or rise, right? This whole buyers taking over event stemmed from it breaking this level that it couldn't do. Like as you can see, it kept coming here and it's stopping. It created here. It stopped like you had movement here, then it stopped here, right? Then it played around a little bit, tried to go up again, stop. Bless you. Came down, tried to go up again, stop. Came down, tried to go up again, stop for a little bit, and then finally broke through. Whenever you see something like this, it means there's like sellers just sitting here pushing the market down, like, okay, we're not willing to give up our territory. This is a game. Trading is a game, and I'll keep saying this because I like to compare it to video games. This is how my mind works. But most men do work like that. For the females watching, just play Pac-Man or something. You'll understand what I mean. So, in any video game, there's two sides, right? There's your side and the bad guy's side. All right, let's say we're playing Call of Duty. You got the enemies and you. So in this case, let's say you're the buyer. Bless you. Bless you. Sorry, my son's over there sneezing. Um, so you got the buyers over here and you've got the sellers over here. Right? So the black represents sellers, white represents buyers. But what's happening is the sellers are just sitting in this little pocket. That's why I created a little zone, pocket, etc., whatever you want to call it. They're just sitting here waiting and pushing. Every time they get here, they're like, no, we're not gonna let it go, sell. No, we're not gonna let it go, sell. And then finally they got exhausted and gave up the fight for a very long time, as you can see. And now buyers took over, and that's why we see all this increase. So just know this whole time you're looking at any single chart, every single chart is the same. It's buyers versus sellers. Simple. Keep the game simple. Red versus blue Halo edition, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Any of y'all that play video games, y'all don't understand exactly what I'm talking about. But the game is very simple, consistently being buying versus selling. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep drawing these little pockets, right? Anytime I see sellers kind of take over, even if for a little bit. So right here, as you can see, buyers, 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 buyers. Sellers took over for a little bit. Buyers, buyers, buyers. Sellers are here. As you can see, it's taking a pause. When the market's going like this and it takes these pauses, that means sellers are trying to take over that point. So those are the little pockets that I'm gonna create. Make it simple. So this is like when where everybody's fighting for territory. Now this is a really, really, really big one. I'm not gonna leave that like that. I'm just showing you guys an example. But you could, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's not enough acute, like sharp data for you to act off of. I'll do this little one right here too, because the market kind of paused. And so what I do is I take, again, going over this in a mini course, but I take the top of if we're going up, right? So this is buying. We're buying now. We're team buy. Team red. Let's call it team red. So we're team white. So y'all don't get confused in the colors. We're team white. So we're team white. We're trying to get up. We're trying to go up. When we get some resistance from team black, we have to create these pockets, and the pockets identify what we're looking at. Once we create the pockets, then we can zoom in and look for more information. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But right now, we're just giving a brief overview of what's going on here. So let's see what I want to do. Do I want to go up? This is a 3 month time frame. Not a lot of people are able to look at data like this. I'm like one of the main, I'm probably the only person I know that uses these time frames. But I'll look at the 3 month and sometimes the 6 month if I want to see the long term trend. Like even this peep game right here. Boom. You see this? It looks better on the 6 month. See, I'll do that. So me, I'll go down and up and down and up. I go up to the highest time frame I can go just to see the long-term data. And sometimes I'll go lower just to see the short-term data. But I'll show you, I don't go lower than H4 hour for the purpose of this video. Very rarely do I use the 1 hour to enter into a move on the 4 hour. Talk about that later. But for the most part, we're using the weekly, daily, and oh, sorry, monthly, weekly, and daily time frames to break down our charts, analyze our charts, and basically give us the overall viewpoint for how we can find opportunity. That's all this game is about, finding opportunity. I'm gonna delete these so I can show you why I brought this here in the first place. All right, so I'm back. Um, okay. So I moved those lines so we can see the chart more clear. As you guys can see, so this was a high of Friday. So this says Friday, July 11th. Basically, what does that meaning is 2011. There was a 2011 high. So the market hit all the way to 1921. It's so crazy that the market was at 1921. But this is gold we're talking about. As you guys know, if you're paying attention at all, gold's been skyrocketing for the last 2 years. So yeah, can you turn? Yeah, thank you. Um, so yeah, this was the high. And what happens is this was a significant high. As you see, the market dropped hard from here and didn't come back for a very long time. What is it? They didn't come back until 2020, right? So we went from 2011 to 2020. That's almost 10 years that it took to get back to this point. And remember, every one of these bars right now, because we're on the 6 month chart, is a 6 month time frame. Like literally, this is 6 months. So if you look July, January, July, January, July, January, July, January, et cetera, et cetera. So wow, it's so crazy. I haven't looked at this one in a minute. But as you can see, the market stopped here. That's why it stopped. But now if you go to boom, boom, and it's not going to look even on here. So I'll use a 3 month for now. But if you look at this is why the market stopped here because the sellers saw this previous high and they took over. And they're like, nah, you're not going any further. You're not going any further. You might go further, but I don't want you to. Okay, you're going further. You know what I mean? So let's see. I will remove this now. I just wanted to show you a viewpoint. It's way better when you're looking at larger time frames to do this, but remember, this is just for the long term. Like, okay, I want to bring you this perspective real quick. Imagine that you were looking at this chart and you had this marked up. Like, this is the banks, right? The banks got long-term data, so they got this chart marked up. They're looking at these levels. They've got these little pockets. Boom. And they're looking at long-term data, right? So imagine you have this 6 month chart marked up, you're looking at highs from years ago, and it finally breaks. As a bank, you're loading millions of dollars in right here. Literally, what's that? January 2024. You're loading millions of dollars because you see long-term data, and you could have just waited for that to happen, basically. You can just wait. Because it's just been patient for months and months and months, years, whatever the case may be. Obviously, there's trades along the way on the shorter time frames, but my whole point is if you have that long-term data, you can see the entire picture versus being confused when things happen. You know what's going to happen going forward. You know the possibility of what you might see going forward. Your odds of making money are so. Now that I gave you that example, I might leave it there honestly, just to show y'all. Just yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. So we're back to the monthly. So we got this large pocket of data that we were unable to escape. So now we're going to go to the weekly time frame and we're going to find more of these levels, more of these zones. As you guys can see when you look. Now, what I will say is the weekly and daily line up very, very well with the monthly, which is why I like those three time frames. And they let me see pictures of data or the whole pocket of data for a longer period of time, and you can stay out of bad moves, bad trades, right? So, for example, let's see the optical. Giving y'all a mini lesson here, but hey. So this whole little pocket right here that I'm putting a circle over. The reason why I'm making this pocket is so you guys can see it's very rangy. Like it's no real confirmed anything until it leaves this area. There's nothing confirmed, right? So what I like to do is just stay out of the market at that time, or I have to go super, super lower, like maybe the daily, right, and find opportunity. But sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you just want to chill. That was summer actually as well. Let's see, this is April, kind of May. So it started in April and then May, and then it kind of just went from there. So from May to all the way to August, basically September. This is September. Boom. This is May. Boom. So from this whole summer pocket, there was not really much opportunity. Most people take the break off of summer. Bankers like to take the break off. People see people with big money take breaks, and then the market slows down. So you can avoid this whole pocket just by staying out of it until it breaks. As you see, as soon, and I'm talking about as soon as it breaks, meaning buyers took over, and you can visibly see. What does that mean? Visibly see? Babe, can you stop him? What does that mean? Visibly see? You can visibly see this bar right here, and I'll take this away now so you can see it better. This bar right here locks itself in. What do you mean? It stops, it closes, it's finished, right? It locks itself in above this whole bar that couldn't pass all summer. And as soon as it did, we got our takeoff. Boom. That was 56% increase like that. Now, obviously, I make a point. It took a few few months to get there, right? So we're talking about from September all the way to January. But the point is, when I say it just like that, it's just clean, it's smooth. As you see, there's not much fight here. There's no black. They gave up, right? They came back in for a little bit, right? So then once that happens, what I like to do is create another zone. Okay, if if I was stopped at a certain point, right here, what it looks like. That means that at that point, sellers come back in strong. They fighting for territory. They're winning a little bit. If you guys play Call of Duty, you know when you play Domination, right? You know, going back and forth, or Headquarters, or any game where you're going back and forth for territory, you can be up a lot, and then the other team can come back a little bit, right? Maybe some people quit, left the lobby, you know, whatever the case may be. Then somebody just started turning up on other teams. Somebody joined and they was just turning up on other teams and they carrying the team on their back. So that's what happens here, right? They're carrying the team on their back for a little bit, but then they get tired. They leave the lobby. They quit the game. Or you get your buddies, you get, hey, let's lock in. You lock in, and now all of a sudden y'all taking over, taking over, taking over. And then as soon as you get up here, you took over. You take some profits. That's what this is when you see this real quick. As we call them retest, right? So when the market goes up and comes back down for a little bit, it's retesting. They're taking profits. Just know somebody out there, the banks are making money. They made money from all the way from here. I mean, it could have been down here. Sometimes they do it down there, but let's just say they made money from here to here. Right? They got above finally. We exited the territory we were stuck at. let's take some money home and let's get back in. So that's what happens here. So they took some money, sellers came in for a little bit, and then it quickly, I mean, quickly got exhausted by the next week's candle, right? Next week's brick bar, whatever you want to call it. And then boom, we're up 24%. So what I'm forcing you guys to see when we're looking at all this is pocket. We're looking to get past the pocket so we can find the opportunity. Get past these pockets so we can find the opportunity. Every time we get past these pockets, as you guys see, there's opportunity. You guys can trade in the pockets if you want to, or you can just wait. It comes out, boom, profit. Smooth rides. For the most part, obviously, sometimes you have a little bit of back and forth, but for the most part, you're going to the next, you're creating another level of territory that's you've dominated, that's yours, right? And then they'll fight you a little bit, but hey, we've already passed their previous territory. They're weak over here. It's our ball game. We're winning. You know what I'm saying? We got 100, y'all got 75. Like we're up. And then obviously they take back over. Again, once this happens and this creates it, like when I start seeing this, I take my profits after I see probably like maybe like two candles doing this, and it's a lot of movement. Basically, they're big candles, right? That means a lot of sellers are fighting for territory. Just take it out. If you made profit from here, let's say to here, that's 7%. You know what I mean? And where am I at? So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 months, that's not bad. Um, it works a little bit differently when you're trading, but let's just say you're buying and holding, right? So you made 7% of your money. That's good. That's a good day. And you wait. Me, I like to, well, obviously we're talking about trading, so I'm gonna explain a little bit differently. That's a good move, regardless. That's 19,000 points. So if you're trading a one lot, that's 19K. You know what I mean? Um, or if you exited right here at this candle. 17K, right? The standard trading size is one lot, right? And let's say if you have, for gold specifically, if you have like 15 to 20,000, you can do a one lot without a problem and like basically take that risk. So you made 17K here. Cool. Got out. It confirmed it's stopping for a bit. Then you got back in. No, hold on. You wait. Remember, you wait till it's out the zone. You wait till we get past the pocket. We're past the pocket. Boom. We're in. And now we're taking it all the way. Like I said, this is just one. It's just a little retest. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Boom. Now this large candle, when you start seeing that, that's when the market starts reversing, as you guys see. This large candle wick, excuse me. This large line is a candle wick. What that means is on a lower time frame, these are actually candles. Like these wicks are candles, but we're not going to pay attention to that right now. That's for the mini course. The point is, when you see this wick, when you see that, that means sellers are coming in hot, right? And they're stopping the movement. So let's say you took it all the way from when it finally got above it or down here. I like to set trades up down there, so that's what I'll do. It went up 69,000 points. You took it out. Let's say you took it out at 51,000. That's still $51,000, bro. You chilling. You know what I mean? And you pretty much just leave it until once again. And what I like to do, the greatest thing about this platform, and I didn't tell you about that, I'm gonna talk about it later, but this is Trading View, right? So the greatest thing about this platform is you pay a short little membership thing. I got mine for the year. But what you'll do consistently is you see these dash lines. If I click here, I can send alerts. Boom. And I got my app on my iPhone. They also have apps for Samsung users. But boom. I can set up these little alerts so that when the market goes there, I don't even have to be looking. Once I do all the work, I set all this up, I just set my alerts and walk away. That's the best thing to do because now, okay, boom, it goes. I see that I got above. I'll let it close. Remember, lock itself in. Then I'll get in. Boom. And I'll just keep letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. I'll come back. This is a weekly time frame, so obviously you have to come back every week. If you're monitoring on the weekly, you'll come back every end of the week, which is Sunday at 6 to Friday at like 5, or really like 4:45. They be cutting it off early. I don't know why. But you'll basically come in, you'll take this move, you'll wait for this to happen again. You know what I'm saying? If you got a large, you can stop at these large wicks and take profit still and get back in. That's the smartest thing to do. But let's say you didn't do that. Let's say you didn't get out here. right? You didn't get your 66,000. You waited for this candle to close and confirm, okay, sellers are taking over. Like sellers are taking over here. You can kind of see it. They're stopping you, but now they've stopped you and taking over. Boom. Still up 52K. You know what I mean? And that's on a one lot, very small account size. Obviously, that's for some people. I know not everybody has enough to trade 15 to 20K. Another thing I'm gonna be talking about in the group in my free chat because I can't expose everything on here, right? It's still free, but I don't want to put it on social media. All right. I'm gonna be showing y'all how to leverage credit to get resources to trade so that you're not even trading your money, you're trading the bank's money. But that's another video, another time. So anyway, back to the move. So sellers have taken over, and once again, what do? Same thing here. We wait for it to get out. We create the pocket, just like we did. All right. We wait for it to get out the pocket. It's out the pocket. You could, I like to literally where my alert is usually where I'll just place a pending order. So what does that mean? Is like I can place a buy here and just wait for it to get there. And when it gets there, it'll automatically go and then I'll be in profit. Or I can wait till market closure, candle closure, which, and I know this looks funny, is still here. Right. Now I know you see this down movement. You're down 25K, which at this point, because you've got 100 something K, that should be okay. But if you can't take that, you should know that when you do take these type of trades, you have to put your orders back behind the previous level. So there's so much I want to go into, but I don't want to go into it on this video. I want to go into later. So truthfully, if you're taking this trade early, you would be willing to risk 66K. Simple. Now, what we normally say is when these levels do break, and sometimes this doesn't work out, you're gonna see right here. Right here, actually. I would always teach people wait for it to break, stop, lock itself in, then retest, meaning bounce, and then get in on the bounce. So truthfully, this candle is the best candle for you to get into. As you see, that's not always going to happen. It didn't happen here. It didn't happen. It happened on a lower time frame, like not Friday, daily, right? It still didn't really happen there. It happened here. Did it happen here? Let's see. Didn't happen in here either. So you can miss out like that. So I don't listen. This game is about risk, right? It's risk to reward. So whatever you're risking, you're aiming to make more. So if I'm risking, let's go back to that move. If I'm risking 60,000, I'm gonna aim for at least a 1-to-1, which is 60,000. Some people do a 2-to-1, which they wouldn't have got during this move. Let me see, it's all the way. That's 105,000. So they wouldn't have got 120, but they have got pretty high. You know what I mean? But if you went 1-to-1, hey, you got 60. Now there's way better ways to do this in the trade and be sharper on point, and we'll get into that in the mini course. I'm just showing y'all the overall view of how I see the chart, like how I break it down so nothing surprises me, right? Now, you might be saying, well, like, how are you not going to be surprised by this? Because it just stopped out of nowhere and there was no levels. You're creating levels as you go on. You would be right. I'm creating these zones. I'm creating these levels and zones as we go forward because we're in all new territory. We've had all-time highs. We've never been this high before. So what you do is you kind of wait and you trail it up. So now let's go to the daily. We've already found these pockets, right? Let's see if we can find some better pockets. So take my little tools. I got my tool. Well, the cool thing is too, you can set like a little, this is your customized toolbar. So all the things you normally use, you can set up right here. Now, this was that break and retest and that bounce as we talked about, right? So if I set a level right here, let's say I was waiting for a retest and I set a level right here after this drop, this is where I'll get back in. As you see, it did the same thing. It went up, it bounced and came. Now, how did I know to get out this move? I'm glad you asked because I got out of this move perfectly. Actually, we were right. You know, we literally entered this trade. I was doing it with my wife. It was so cool. Cool. Actually, she's getting back into trading. She hasn't traded for a while, right? So what I did was I made her a little small account and I put the smallest lot size you could trade just to make a point, right? And the lot size we call it a penny lot, 0.1. Oh, sorry, 0.01 lot, right? And I'll explain what that means later. But the small size trade you trade and she still made passively, I think this was let me look into a little bit more and see where I got her in at. I think right here. The point is she passively made like 300 bucks of the $300 account. So it doesn't take a lot of money to make money, good money. Like I want y'all to look at trading as like I could replace my job income if I just be consistent with this. And it doesn't take a lot. Like I said, you can literally take $500,000 and take the smallest trade size possible and still make good money because you're finding good moves, executing properly on good opportunity. This is a good opportunity right here. Even this is still a good opportunity, risk to reward ratio. This is a good opportunity. You're just finding when it's exiting right here, entry, good opportunity. The list goes on and on. Good opportunity. Like you're gonna find them all day. And if you can do that, and you can do it passively too. That's the thing. She didn't even look at the chart. I was like, "Oh, babe, good in." Da da da. And she gets in, and she refreshing her memory, right? Because she was the first person I taught. But the point is, you're flexing your brain in the right capacity. Your your risk to reward ratio is insane because you're literally only using a few $100s, and you're able to make a few $100s. If, like I said, if you just every single day focus on making extra $500 a week, that's extra $2,000 a month. You know what I mean? So the whole point of trading is to look at it with the proper perspective. And what I mean by proper perspective is you can replace your job with this just by focusing on it, being consistent, not rushing it. Right. I've done this before. I've rushed trades. I've rushed my success, made millions of dollars and then lost millions, not on trading, on other things because I was distracted with that immediate gratification mindset. Right. Invest in I'm gonna go over these stories later. I actually did a podcast on them. But and I don't like to use the word invest when I talk about other opportunities. I don't like to use the word invest at all. I just leverage capital, right? I leverage capital to try and gain capital. And I did it in other areas than where my expertise was, where my skill set was, and I ended up losing. All right. I did that several times. So I guess my point is if you focus just on the skill set, on the proper mindset, and replacing basically bettering your situation 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 month at a time. You're gonna find yourself in a better situation. Like if you trade, like I said, going back to that example, if you just aim to make an extra $500 a month, I'm sorry, a week. Yeah, for some of you it might be a month. Hey, whatever. But if an extra $500 a week, $2,000 a month will change your life, imagine that times 12, right? Now you're at your extra 24K to your salary, right? And you can start to replace your job because at the end of that year, you have 24K that you didn't have off of maybe $1,000, right? And then you take that 24K and now you can take bigger trades and you just keep going on and on. So imagine 4 years of that, right? We call that compounding. So actually, if I did do the math on that, let's go 24K, right? So that's year one. On a 24K lot, what did I tell you you could trade? I'm sorry, on a 24K size account, I told you you can trade a one lot. So now let's say one lot, let me see the math on that. If you got, if you make 500 bucks with the lowest account, that would be a penny. So if you bid 500 bucks with a penny lot, let's times that by five, right? So now you're doing 2,500 minimum a week times, let's just say 52 weeks. Keep the math simple. That's an extra 130K plus your 24. You're up 154,000, right? So trading is not some mystical, you can't understand thing. It's just time and dedication and focus, perspective. It's all the right things in the right pocket, and it's just staying consistent, staying focused on finding opportunity, being patient and waiting for opportunity, not trying to jump in too early, right? Not trying to get in too late. FOMO, we call that. Fear of missing out. We'll talk about those things later in the mini course. But my whole point here is if you just stay consistent in trying to find opportunity and wait for opportunity, be patient for opportunity to pull up on you, you guys will be well deep within your bag. And I'm gonna be helping y'all do it, right? I'm gonna be here all year. And for the next few years, my goal is to make video every week and really just challenge myself to give y'all valuable content, one, but two, to leave. It's like a benchmark of information I'm going to leave behind for my children, right? And then you guys just get to benefit. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like I'm doing these videos for my family, my children to change and impact the people's lives that I care about, and that's automatically going to benefit and help y'all. So with that being said, this is the end of the video, and apologies for my screen. I tried to do this webcam. I bought a webcam, and like I said, I have a Sony camera. I don't even know where it is right now. I have a Sony camera, and it's too much to set up just to get a quick video like this. And I hope it's been quick. It's kind of been long, but whatever. And I got my whole setup for it, right? I just don't feel like doing it. It takes too much effort to work to set up, break down, set up, break down, set up. And so I got this webcam, and the webcam for whatever reason. Oh, here we go. This little webcam doesn't work with my computer for some reason. It like I plug it in and it won't work, and then it used to work, so I don't know. So I'm gonna see what I can do to fix the video quality, but then none of that matters because at the end of the day, it's about the content that I'm bringing and delivering to you guys. So I hope you guys got some value of this from this, and I will see you guys in the next video. That's been it. Thank you for joining Mavericks POV. Out.